Namaskar. We would like to welcome you all on behalf of Independent Research Ethics Society, AYUSH Samriddhi International Webinar Series at milestone of 2345. Very unique number 2345. 2345. Thank you for your overwhelming support, mentorship, and guidance. I would like to welcome Dr. Sakat Kumar Basuji, Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee Madam, Dr. Nishant Shukla ji, Dr. Andy Sharma sir, and the subject what we are celebrating for awareness today is based on Colombia's Arbor Day. That is Tree Day. So plant trees, save earth. In this month only, Love You the Tree Day is also there. So we will be discussing different points on that day also. So welcome Dr. Sakat Vasuji, welcome Dr. Suparna Mukherjee Madam, welcome to both the learned speakers. I would like to welcome Dr. Suparna ji joining, but in the meantime, I'm joined. She is also joined. Her audio is not joined yet. Would you like to start, Dr. Sakat?
Yes, we can start for
Yes.
save time. No problem. Superna madam
No,
is there.
she has
She
joined.
will join soon, I guess. Yes.
Okay. Please continue.
Okay. Okay. I think madam has now joined. We can like both. I could see both her audio and video is switched
Please,
off. I would suggest
please,
madam, if
please
you keep
invite
your
on our
video
behalf
off, like the
somebody.
connection will be better. So you can speak with your video off, madam. I invite Dr.
I would
Suparna
like to
Mukherjee.
invite Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee, Madam. Welcome. Am I audible to you, Madam? Something is problem. Please start, Dr. Sakat Vasu. She will start afterwards.
Yes. No problem. Thank you so much, Professor Sharma. It is
Okay.
once again.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Am I audible to you?
Dr. Sakat, kindly continue. She will join and she is again disconnected. Sakat ji, please continue.
Okay, Sharmaji, I am starting fast. I just mentioned, madam, her line is having a little bit of problem. By the time I finish, she will re-enter and then she will start. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. It is once again a pleasure to be a part of this platform. Tree is one of the most important component of our earth, right? Like for all the animals and for our survival, it is the oxygen donated by the trees, and by plants we just do not mean by trees. It's herbs, shrubs, trees, and even non-flowering plants like algae, bryophytes and pteridophytes, mosses, ferns, everything contributes in some way or other in the evolution of these planets, and many of these species have evolved throughout from Carbonaceous, Devonian, Permian, and other ages for millions of years to see what we have today. There was a time when there was no flowering plants at one point of time. These ferns dominated our planet at one point of time, and over the years, we have slowly reached to this condition where we have all these beautiful flowering plants that we see in and around, and pollination is one of the very important aspect of the integrity and survival of the plant on this planet. Why are we so much interested and focused about plants to these days? Because we all know that we are facing crisis as a result of the inconsequential growth, like sequential growth of human population to a level where it has turned destructive. Our population has crossed the carrying capacity of the earth, and it is threatening us now with too much growth, infrastructural development, opening of agricultural fields and mines, and that means encroachment into the forested areas. The more population we have, the more human population that we generate, the more mouths to feed, more people to provide employment, and as a consequences, we have to look into our natural resources for supplementing and providing resources for the economy to grow. And tree is one of the cornerstone of that economy, although we do not possibly understand how important it is. If you just take a look around yourself, like in whichever room you are right now, you will be amazed to see how many plant products we use. Look at the furniture that we have comes from the timber. Your bed and everything, the bed sheet, the cottons comes from the cotton. If you have mattresses and other, cartons, everything comes from some sources of the plants. All the papers in and around you, starting from currency notes to parchment paper to books and your notepads and everything has a plant resources. The food that we eat every day, so much of material and resources that we generate and it all comes from the plant. Without the plant, it becomes difficult and detrimental for us to survive. But in spite of the love for plants, in spite of the passion for plants, because the growth of the economy is also an essential part of our survival now, we are constantly around the world degrading our forests and habits. For example, take the case of the Amazonian forest. Amazon is considered as the lungs of the entire world. If Amazonian forest is gone, it is a huge challenge for our survival because it disorients the supply of oxygen into the atmosphere and changes the atmosphere at a significant rate. But for a long time, the world ignored Brazil. Like it has been a developing country for a long time. It has grown in substantially overpopulation and stuff. It's a developing country. It has its own challenge of economy, growth, corruption, and whatever. And over the years, people have started exploiting the forests in Brazil for the survival. The more and more people that are migrating out of the towns and cities, looking for opportunities for more jobs. They are moving more into this Amazonian forest for various resources. It could be the fresh water. The Amazonian water provides enormous resources for fish and other materials. But at the same time, the huge forest that stands on either side provides multiple species, one of the largest species diversity in the entire world. Similar situation in Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Congo, and various other Mexico and various other countries like India and China, where we have rich diversity of plants, but the plants are being constantly hit by the pressure of the human. And as a consequences, we are over exploiting our forests. Trees are being harvested at an alarming rate in a way that they are not getting the time to regenerate themselves. I myself work on medicinal plants, and it is getting scary that although it is a great joy that the use of Ayurveda and the importance of medicinal plants have gone significantly up, but because many of these, a vast majority of these medicinal plants are not produced agronomically, most of them are harvested from forest and natural wilderness areas, and mostly by untrained people, marginal laborers, extremely poor, fragile inmates, as well as people who live in the forest or forest fringe dwellers. They have very little training, and they harvest these plants at a alarming rate without leaving nothing for the next generation to flourish. So if you are harvesting it before the monsoon, you are not giving it the opportunity to regenerate during the monsoon so that it can produce flowers, fruit, seeds, and then it can give rise to the next generation. So similarly, this is for not just medicinal plants restricted, even timber yielding plants that we have in our forest, whether it is teak or various other hemlock or whatever it is available in our country and over the world, it is being overexploited. I provided the example of Brazil and the Amazonian ecosystem. The Amazon is not just restricted to Brazil, but other adjoining countries like Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Venezuela, and other countries. And there has been a clearing of the forest to make place for orchards, for agriculture, both organic and non-organic, and also for other anthropogenic activities, which is disturbing the biodiversity and also causing extinction of plants which are getting overexploited. Although there are formulations, standard operating procedures that if you are working in the forest, you are taking one plants, you would be regenerating that with 1:20, 1:30, or even 1:40 ratio. There is very little monitoring and surveillance in which these plants are regenerated. And as a consequences, afforestation practices are not taking place in a way that they should be generating plants. In most of the time, we talk about growing a plant. Like, we do have various festivals, various celebrity days like World Environment Day, the Forest Week, and World Bee Day. Every time we talk about tree plantations, and we do take serious note of putting seeds on the soil, putting seedlings on the soil and stuff. But we have to remember that in nature, 1 in 100 plants actually survive to the adulthood. Remember, 1 in 100 plants. And if we are doing a model plantation of 5 or 10 plants, biologically statistical chances are that none of them will survive, or maybe just one may survive to adulthood. But unless these plants or the trees reach adulthood, our attempt to generate them does not actually help in the afforestation process, which means growing of forest. So that the rate of deforestation has been so high in all parts of the world because of our economic needs, dependence on the forest, both for major and minor forest products. But the replantation regeneration, particularly in developing and underdeveloping countries across Asia, Africa, and Latin America, has not been quite appreciable. And as a consequences, the diversity of species in the forest are being lost, and the soil formation and other natural processes that occur within this ecosystem are being greatly dismantled all over the world. This is a challenge that we are facing as a humanity because the pressure of humans on the plants has been going on at an unprecedented rate, and particularly on the forest. Most governments around the world in developing and underdeveloping countries take sideways, modified rules and regulations helped by administration as well as corrupt politicians, which promotes the encroachment of the forest for political reason, for gaining votes, for settlement of, replaced people to gain popularity. And this vast degradation and destruction of the forest is resulting in huge biodiversity loss. I had the opportunity to visit Bangladesh once in 2020, and I had the opportunity to visit the Rohingya refugee-related areas of the Chittagong Hill Tracts in the Cox's Bazar district. And it was shocking to see that all the elephant corridors, the rich vegetation of the hill tracts, all has been dismantled. The hills in and around has been made into temporary make huts to accommodate Rohingya refugees that were moved from Brazil as a result of ethnic cleansing. But this human tragedy has also raised to the tragedy of the trees because huge wide forest has been completely wiped out. And I sincerely believe in the next 20 years, those land that are lost will not even have a single plant coming back, making them barren, open, exposed to the elements, and the loss of the topsoil because of dryness, loss of moisture, and the wind and water erosion will carry away the topsoil, eroding the fertilizer associated component of the soil and making infertile down the years. And the overexploitation, building of construction of houses, and more people settling in those areas, irregular, burning of the forest and trying to regenerate them. All these practices are depleting trees. It is difficult to understand just by looking at the seed of the jackfruit how big that tree could become over the year and how gigantic it could spread. By looking into the seed of the banyan tree or the people, we will not be able to judge how big and gigantic and long living these trees could be and what significant impacts they have on our soil. They promote soil health by growing deep into the soil, providing aeration channels as well as hydrological channels for providing air and water to pass deep into the soil, procuring nutrients from the soil and helping in the recyclings of the biogeochemical cycling of the soil for large number of minerals and microminerals to make it available to the plants through their root networks and their association with the soil bacteria and soil fungi which is present. They set up communication channels and also nutrient pathways in which both the trees and the microbes in the soil benefit during the process. If the trees are gone, this huge interconnectedness and the process of soil formation is disrupted, and it goes over a few 110 years, your soil started degrading even within the first 5 or 10 years. And then that soil, which takes more than 100 years to form, does not even get the chance to produce and add the organic humus matter to that. The extensive use of fertilizers, the washing away of these pesticide residue water, fertilizer residue water in and around the forested areas, and taking them back and infiltrating them into the forest soils is impacting the nutritional balance of the soil. Many plants are dying, and many weeds or many unwanted plants which were not a part of the forest ecosystem, or those which are runway crop plant, are moving in and infiltrating into the forest, attracting host of domestic animals coming into the forest, and the challenges for the survival becomes extremely high. What other things are impacting our trees is the loss of pollinators. The number of bees, moths, butterflies, beetles, ants, all are going down, and the worst population decline has been reported in bees as well as in case of bats. Trees or plants are pollinated during the daytime by the bees and other insects, but in the nighttime, they are mostly pollinated by the fruit-eating bats. Number of species of vegetarian bats that are present, which feed upon these plants, and they're extremely essential for the pollination of these species, and that helps in the reproduction by transferring pollen grains to one plant to one flower to another of the same plant or related species or another plant. But with this natural pollination process being disrupted because of the loss of the pollinators, our integrated life of the trees in many tropical, subtropical, temperate, and subtemperate forests are being placed as jeopardy. Many tree species which are specified on one particular species of pollinators are dying down fast. And we are being placed at the crossroads that the growth of the population has been so high, and because of our legacy of cheating and not producing and putting enough plants in our nursery and replanting them back into the forest and taking care so that they reach the adulthood, just planting does not help, because once only the plant reaches its adulthood, only then it could reproduce, produce profuse flowering, and from that flower fruits, and from that fruit seeds that not only integrates the economy and the ecology, but also helps in the revival and survival of the plants over subsequent generation. We provide them the opportunity to raise the next generation so that they can survive. Plants do have unique reproductive styles separate from animals, because their genetics is completely different. Plant cells behave differently from animal cells. They follow various genetic processes which are not possible to have in animals, or happens in very some simple unicellular animals, but not in the vast majority of the complex life cycles of the animals. But these are being disrupted and interrupted. Now, I would conclude by saying that it is so important to plant trees and make them grow, because this is the greenery that will help us in the survival. In Western countries, tree muffling is used to reduce the sound pollution, to reduce the arresting wind or air pollution. Extensive plantations of relevant indigenous species. We need to put plants that are grown in our country to fit into that ecosystem. I once had the opportunity of attending a conference in US that talks about Emperor Ashoka of the Maurya dynasty and why he's considered to be a continuous legend, not just for empire building and spread of Buddhism. He is considered, a line from that conference, was the first pioneer who instrumentalized and initiated the concept of social forestry. He was the first who promoted the development of plant nurseries so that we could generate, grow plant, take them back to the forest, reintroduction of wildlife into the forest. This was the first time the veterinary concept or the treatment of animals before that were not taken so seriously. That's why his war elephants to our horses. Everyone is treated so nice because under his patronage, the veterinary as well as plant health and growth, the plant quarantine, all these concepts flourished extensively during the Maurya period, during his reign and empire. And through this, he was the first one to construct boulevards, avenues, tree laden pathways, so that during those days when people had to walk or the soldiers had to walk huge long distances, they were able to use the shade to prevent them from wearing down. so that they could cover a longer distance under these circumstances. And even the business transport communication develops better so that people could travel on shaded pathways so that they have a better quality of transportation. The roads were not so good at that time, but it tried to make the environment good by making them covered with shade. This principle has been followed later on by many kings and emperors down the line. But for our country, this has been an exemplary model that even during those ancient times, he was a forward thinker, a visionary who had talked about artificially creating forests and stuff. Even during the reign of Mughal emperors like Humayun, in the Humayun Nama, he has talked about construction and creation of forest, protection of wildlife, creating sanctuaries and stuff. So this is very, very important in that sense that trees constitute our life. And from our ancient example, we need to continue and grow more trees to make our planet sustainable. Thank you very much. I conclude my presentation here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Chekhar. Before calling Dr. Andy Sharma, I would like to request Dr. Suparna Chamyal Mukherjee, madam. Welcome, madam. आदरणीय एनडी शर्मा जी को मैं कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स के लिए
Thank you very much.
वेलकम वेलकम
I'm sharing my just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes, madam, visible, visible.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for giving me such an
वो एक
opportunity for this
हाँ ठीक है
the plant trees and safe biodiversity. Plant trees and safe biodiversity is a new concept which can be emphasized on this. It is the absolutely predominant feature where we can explore in our plant kingdom as well as the animal kingdom and the human being. So planting trees is one of the simplest yet most powerful actions we can take to help the planet. So our planet is needed the plants. Why the plants? Per plant is our system generation, and first when the earth was started or the environment was started, the first the plant species was started. After the plants, then the animal has come. So that's why the concept in plants is very important. Safe biodiversity is a modern concept. The trees absorb carbon dioxide, provide oxygen, enhance biodiversity, and even cool the environment. Plus, they make any space more beautiful. So that's why the each and every plant and each and every species, there are so many genus, so many species, the families are there, orders, suborders, so many things are there to come across all the parts and significance orientation of the plant kingdom. Each and every plant is needed for our basic development and everyday development to reaching to our optimum level and to save the biodiversity, because there is the eco balance and ecological counteraction which is needed for this eco balance and save biodiversity. So emergence of life what is needed, because campaign plant trees and save earth. So if we can plant the trees, any kind of trees like herbs, herbs, then trees, each and every trees, the high altitude trees with the herbs, and the same time there's the medicinal plants. Everything are very important for the saving of the earth. We have seen in our canopy there is a two-tier canopy development like shrubs and the trees. Then if we can produce herbs like the tree-tier development in between the two trees, we can develop the medicinal plants which can also develop the canopy. So canopy is giving us the shade, canopy is giving us the life sustainability, canopy is giving us the more protection of our life, and which the trees can through this high altitude trees, the rainfall is maintaining the rainfall. We also needed the plants and trees which can save our earth in each and every years after years. It is maintaining our life sustainability in the earth. The participating in rainforest by reforestation programs, then growing plants at home, or supporting organizations dedicated to environmental conservation. So conservation, there is a forest act, there is a conservation act, there is a forest policy, there is a policies which is needed for the forest orientation. And this forest also classified in the three parameters like the reserve forest, protected forest, and village forest. And this reserve forest is basically protection of the biodiversity, and the protected forest where the human beings are surviving and they are making their homes and they are situating over there, and they are habituated to this protected forest. And village forest is also the you can develop the village orientation and the village forest like the side of the canals. Then social forestry development, all are maintaining the environmental conservation. And this environmental conservation is protecting our life sustainability and life expectancy each and every day. And then we can develop our biodiversity everyday life. So every small effort makes a difference. Let's green up the earth, one tree at a time. So it is considered that one human being is needed for five plants, or five plants are needed for one human being. So if we can consider our population, especially the Indian subcontinent, officially it is 140, and unofficially it crossed the 170 crores of people. So in that case, if the five plants are needed for one person, so how many plants are needed? And it is the also thing that the Malthus theory has said the population growing and food production. It should be the production of food should be double in case of the population growing. So if that population growing is 2%, the food production should be the 4%. Then only the scarcity of food would not be there. So in this way, each and every time we should keep up and we should make the our earth green and clean, and one tree at a time. So every day we should plant our total surrounding, that environment, and the each and every plant and each and every tree is needed in case of the medicinal plants or trees or herbs, whatever may be. So each and every plant have a role of giving sustenance of our livelihood pattern in the earth. And then the plants and its accumulation, how the plants is growing. We can make the bed, shade, or we can make it side of our home, or the terrace, or the veranda, wherever we can we can make the shades, and we can make the plants like this. The first we can produce this upper grassland canopy with the natural light and greenhouse lamps. And it is though it is a accumulation process, we can make it in our terrace and the veranda. Then skirt of shading cloth gradually raised with the canopy growth, and then the fluorescent tube with one reactor or reflector should be incorporated in the above, and fluorescent tube enclosed with these two reflectors. Then supplementary light added to the grassland undestroyed. So this way we can develop the plants in our the manufacturing way of the plant kingdom and the conservation of environment to produce the more oxygen, and the same time the carbon dioxide the absorbing of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, the all crucial and evil gas. the plant a tree for the save animals, because the animals, we know the food chain. The animals, those who are having plants, they eat plant every day, so they have to recycle it. And then the other animals which will be eat those animals, so they can get the direct plant production through this animal. So that's why it is very important for us. The way we have seen, the cow is very important for us, because cow is eating the grasses, and when we are getting cow milk, it is the best food, and best for the all kinds of vitamins, minerals we are getting for the cow milk, because it is each and every aspects where the cow is eating, we are directly not though we are not directly eating the grasses, but we are indirectly having this the greenery and green productions through this cow milk, and it is very good for our health. So that's why the animals is also we can preserve and we can protect through this plantation of tree. Then the conservation of forest. Conservation of forest is very important part of our life. Especially, I am emphasizing there, though there is a six types of forest: the deciduous, dry deciduous, with alpine meadows, then the highly important for our life. Just because if we can see the delta like this Sundarban areas, and this area is expanded through the Bangladesh too. But the portion which is in India and the portion of Bangladesh, Bangladesh is only the 30%, whereas India is covered 70% of the mangrove forest area. This mangrove forest is very important for us, just because mangrove forest cover the trends, like the main aspects of this mangrove forest is the root is very hollow, and they are maintaining the ecosystem and demonstrating the trends to local and natural and the global area, because it has been also declared as the UNESCO declares the World Heritage Site. That's why the mangrove forest is very important, because each and every storm, whatever is happening, and which is coming to the West Bengal, and was every time West Bengal is protected by this the mangrove forest, and all the like the isla, like whatever tornado, whatever is coming from the Bay of Bengal, so it is come to goes to the Bangladesh. So that's why the importance of mangrove forest is very important for the protecting of the life sustenance and livelihood status. The contributing of mangrove forest is to coastal protection and the disaster risk reduction. So that's why the economic, according to the main causes of the mangroves like this, which are available in the area of this mangrove and the Sundarban, like the fisheries and the apiculture, silviculture, whatever is having over there, it should be developed through the contribution of the mangrove forest and coastal, coastal eco balance is also depending upon this mangrove forest. And mangrove forest biomass and the carbon stocks is also very important. For that, the mangroves are also strengthening the carbon sustainability and the carbon recyclation. So that's why the eating our earth at the same time the biodiversity too. The protections, because it is giving us the so many kinds of life eco balance and life sustainability. There are so many microbes are also having, and those microbes are having the food of the food. They are maintaining the food chain of the other animals. Though the Royal Bengal tiger is also surviving over there in this mangrove forest areas, and they have their natural food chain which is they are having, and whenever it is the scarcity, they are coming from and jumping in this locality, and that's why the some dangerous situation also happen. So the area of mangrove ecosystem 100% and the zone of the sustainable uses are very important for this having this protection of mango forest and mango sustainability, which is given for life. What can biodiversity will environment change that's why the plantation of it, the improved the filtration of oxygen, reducing oxygen, fresh and healthy. Sorry, again, the connection has gone. So I am just concluding over here. So environmental protection and biodiversity is very important part of our everyday life, and we have to sustain our eco balance, eco development, and eco sustainability, and that's why the protection of plant and plantation of plant to protect the biodiversity is very important part of our life. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me such an opportunity. Thanks a lot.
थैंक यू वेरी मच मैडम, थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं अब आदरणीय डॉक्टर एनडी शर्मा सर को सदर आमंत्रित करता हूं उनके आशीर्वाद के लिए। आदरणीय डॉक्टर एनडी शर्मा।
तो आवाज आ गई?
अरे यार
वृक्ष हमारे जीवन के अभिन्न अंग हैं और वृक्ष केवल जीवन के अभिन्न अंग नहीं है, बल्कि हमारे जल, जीवन और वृक्ष, ये तीनों की एक ऐसी साइकिल है कि जो यदि कहीं पर भी ब्रेक हो जाए तो मानव जीवन जो है ध्वस्त हो जाएगा। आज के समय में जो डिफॉरेस्टेशन हो रहा है या कंक्रीट के जंगल बनते चले जा रहे हैं, तो उसके कारण हमारी जितनी भी इकोसिस्टम है वो सब इम्बैलेंस होता चला जा रहा है। आज आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा पेड़ लगाए जाएं, और जहाँ कहीं भी छोटे स्थान है या बड़े स्थान है, बड़े स्थान पर हम बड़े पेड़ लगा सकते हैं, छोटे स्थानों पर हम गमलों के अंदर भी पेड़ लगा सकते हैं, घरों के अंदर भी पेड़ लगा सकते हैं। क्योंकि पेड़ जो है, जो हमारे लिए सबसे स्वास्थ्यवर्धक चीज है, वो है ऑक्सीजन का लिबरेशन। ऑक्सीजन और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, ऑक्सीजन को मिलना और कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का लिबरेशन, इसके बिना हमारा स्वास्थ्य जो है वो कभी भी स्वस्थ नहीं रह सकता। पीपल के पेड़ में सबसे बड़ी विशेषता यही है कि उसके अंदर जो स्टोमेटा होते हैं वो थ्रू आउट डे एंड नाइट ऑक्सीजन लिबरेट करते हैं, इसीलिए हम उसके लिए पूजते हैं, पूजा जाता है। तो ये एक वृक्ष जो है वो हमारे जीवन के अभिन्न अंग है, और इनसे जो निकलने वाली, उत्सर्जन होने वाली कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड है और जो इनके लिए देने वाली ऑक्सीजन है, इन सब का बैलेंस जो है वो नितांत आवश्यक है। आज के समय में जो कंक्रीट के जंगल होते जा रहे हैं और पेड़ों के कटान हो रहे हैं, उनके कारण हमारा इकोसिस्टम जो है बिगड़ता जा रहा है। आज आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा जंगल लगाए जाएं, और उनके पेड़ों के लिए, जैसे कभी का चला था कि अभियान चल रहे हैं कि जिसमें कि पेड़ लगाए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन पेड़ लगाए जा रहे हैं, लेकिन जितनी संख्या में पेड़ लगाए जा रहे हैं उतनों का सर्वाइवल नहीं है। जब उनका सर्वाइवल नहीं है तो उनका लगना और न लगना एक सा ही। आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि जो भी पेड़ लगाए जाएं उनका सर्वाइवल जो है वो सुनिश्चित किया जाना चाहिए। जब उनका सर्वाइवल सुनिश्चित होगा तो हमारा वातावरण भी सुरक्षित होगा, और हमारी बारिश जो है, रेन्स जो है, वो भी नियमानुसार एक जो साइकिल है उस साइकिल के अनुसार रेन्स भी आती रहेंगी। और जब रेंस आती हैं और टाइमली आती हैं तो निश्चित रूप से हमारे जितने भी पेड़ पौधे हैं उनका सर्वाइवल भी अच्छे से अच्छा होता है। आजकल क्या है कि एकदम सूखा पड़ जाता है, एकदम से पानी आ जाता है, पता चलता है कि जितने भी पेड़ लगे वो भी सब बाढ़ में बह गए, या पेड़ लगाए जो गए वो सारे सूख गए। तो इन सब परिस्थितियां ऐसी हैं कि इन परिस्थितियों के ऊपर, जैसे कि अभी वहाँ जो चिपको आंदोलन चल रहा था, उसका महत्वपूर्ण उद्देश्य यही था कि पेड़ों के लिए काटने से बचाने के लिए जब कोई भी काटने आता था तो वहां के लोग जो थे वो चिपक जाते थे पेड़ से, कि जिससे कि उस पेड़ के लिए काटा ना जाए। ये चिपको आंदोलन काफी मशहूर हुआ, और सिर्फ मशहूर ही नहीं हुआ बल्कि इसके कारण काफी जंगलों का संरक्षण भी हुआ। और आज आवश्यकता इसी बात की है कि जैसे कि कहा गया कि कम से कम एक पेड़ लगाया जाए, लेकिन एक पेड़ ऐसा हो कि जिसका सर्वाइवल ढंग से हो सके, और ऐसा पेड़ हो जैसे कि औषधीय पेड़ है, नीम है, आपका बबूल है, आपका आकू, ये छोटे पेड़ों के अंदर अकौआ है, और जामन है, और ये जितने भी ऐसे पेड़ हैं कि जो जंगल के अंदर स्वताई भी होते हैं और लगाए भी जाते हैं। अगर इनकी संख्या जो पॉलिनेशन है, जो पशु पक्षियों के माध्यम से होती रहती है, वो सुनिश्चित की जाए तो हमारे पेड़ों की संख्या स्वतः ही बढ़ जाएगी। आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि हमारा जो पशु और पक्षी, इन सब का संतुलन जो है वो बहुत आवश्यक है इकोसिस्टम के लिए। और जो अगर हम अपने अर्थ को बचाना चाहते हैं तो तभी बस संभव है जबकि उनके ऊपर पेड़ और पानी पर्याप्त मात्रा के अंदर सुनिश्चित हो। अगर पानी नहीं है और पेड़ लगा दिए गए तो सारा पैसा जो है, जैसे कि आजकल तमाम अभियान चल रहे हैं, उन अभियानों के अंदर पेड़ तो लग जाते हैं लेकिन उनका जो कहना चाहिए बढ़ोतरी होनी चाहिए वो नहीं हो पाती। वो पहले से ही, यानी कि वृक्ष पूरा बनने से पहले ही सूख जाया करते हैं। तो आवश्यकता इस बात की है कि जल जहाँ पर भी पर्याप्त मात्रा के अंदर है, और जहाँ पर्याप्त मात्रा में नहीं है वहां पर अपने घरों के अंदर भी छोटे छोटे पेड़, ऐसे पेड़ जो कि ऑक्सीजन देने के लिए ज्यादा वो हैं, उनके लिए अगर हम लगाते हैं तो निश्चित रूप से हमारा इकोसिस्टम भी अच्छा होगा और हमारा वातावरण भी अच्छा होगा। पीपल का पेड़ ऐसा पेड़ है कि जो छोटे से बड़े से, अगर बड़ा गमला है तो वहां पर भी आप लगा सकते हैं, और जगह है तब तो फिर कोई बात ही नहीं। इसी ढंग से नीम है, गूला है, जामन है, ये ऐसे पेड़ हैं कि जो कि हमेशा ही हमारे लिए ऑक्सीजन देते भी हैं, और जिनकी जड़ें भी इतनी मजबूत आगे नीचे तक जाती हैं कि जिससे कि जल का संरक्षण भी संभव होता है, क्योंकि जल का संरक्षण भी बहुत आवश्यक है। अगर जल का संरक्षण नहीं है तो जो भी पेड़ हमारे लगाए जाएंगे वो हमारी मेहनत परिश्रम बेकार जाएगी। इसी शब्दों के साथ मैं आपका सभी का, और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण वार्ता थी, क्योंकि वार्ता जो है इस समय की करंट टॉपिक है कि पेड़ों का हम कैसे बचत करें। इस समय हमारे योगी जी जो हैं वो भी लगातार पेड़ के लिए प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि हर जगह पर ज्यादा से ज्यादा पेड़ लगाए जाएं। लेकिन हुआ क्या कि जबकि ये सड़क बनी तो सड़क बनने के अंदर जो पहले वाले बड़े बड़े पेड़ थे वो सब कट गए। अब छोटे पेड़ों को लगने के बाद उनकी प्रजातियां बदल गई, प्रजातियां ऐसी बदली कि वो ऑर्नामेंटल ज्यादा लग गए। तो इस ढंग से इनकी जो साइकिल है वो इस प्रकार से बनना चाहिए कि जिससे कि हमारी पृथ्वी का भी, उनके अंदर जल की मात्रा भी कम ना होने पाए, और पृथ्वी जो है उनके से उनके लिए पर्याप्त मिनरल्स भी उन पेड़ों के लिए मिल सके, पर्याप्त पानी भी उन पेड़ों के लिए मिल सके, और उनकी सुरक्षा भी सुनिश्चित की जानी चाहिए। क्योंकि पेड़ तो लगा दिया लेकिन अगर उसके अंदर पानी नहीं डाला गया या उसके अंदर खाद नहीं दी गई तो उसका लगना जो है वो मूल्य का जो बजाय फायदे के और नुकसान होगा कि उतना पैसा बर्बाद हो गया। इसलिए आवश्यकता है कि खाद, पानी और पौधे जिनकी की संतति अच्छी हो, जिस प्रकार से कि और उनका उनके साथ में पक्षी, जिससे कि उन पक्षियों के माध्यम से ऊंचे से नीम है, निबोई है, तो ये पक्षी खाते हैं, दूसरी जगह पर नीब अपने आप पहुंच जाता है। पीपल है, गूलर है, ये एक दूसरे के स्थान से दूसरे स्थान पर बहुत आसानी से ट्रांसमिट हो जाते हैं। तो ऐसे पेड़ों के लिए लगाया जाए कि जिनसे कि पानी की भी बचत हो और पानी के संरक्षण के साथ साथ हमारे पौधे भी सुरक्षित रह सकें और उन पौधों से जो हमारे लिए लाभ मिलना चाहिए, चाहे खाद्य पेड़ हो, चाहे औषधीय पेड़ हो, चाहे हमारे केवल सौंदर्य की दृष्टि से जो लगाए गए हों, लेकिन उन सब का अपना महत्व है। आजकल औषधीय पेड़ों की संख्या बहुत कम होती चली जा रही है। केवल जो पहाड़ी क्षेत्र हैं वहां पर तो अब मिल भी रहे हैं, लेकिन शहरों के अंदर तो उनकी संख्या बहुत कम होती चली जा रही है, या जिस जगह पर की विशेष रूप से प्रबंध किए जा रहे हैं वहां पर ही उनकी बचाव हो पा रहे हैं। आज हमारी जो वनस्पति है, कहना चाहिए आयुर्वेद की दृष्टि से ये वन जो है वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। और जहाँ वन होंगे और जहाँ पेड़ होंगे वहां पर निश्चित रूप से निरोगी काया दिखाई पड़ेगी। ये मेरा अपना मत है कि जहाँ पर भी अच्छे पेड़ पौधे होंगे वहां पर आदमी भी स्वस्थ होंगे, क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन की उनके लिए हमेशा मिलती रहेगी, कार्य क्षमता भी बढ़ेगी, और कार्य क्षमता बढ़ती है तो उनकी एक मनोरंजन भी होता है और स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से आवश्यक भी होता है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ, क्योंकि वन जीवन जो है इस समय बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कहना चाहिए टॉपिक है कि फॉरेस्ट्री के लिए किस प्रकार से बढ़ाया जाए और किस प्रकार से पेड़ों के लिए संरक्षित किया जाए और ऐसे पेड़ बनाए जाए जो खाद्य के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से और औषधीय गुणों से भी बहुत ही आवश्यक है। क्योंकि आजकल जब आयुर्वेद के अंदर इतना अच्छा वो चल रहा है, उस समय वो तभी संभव है जब तक कि औषधीय पौधों की भी संख्या बढ़ती चली जाए। और इसीलिए जो हमारे पहाड़ी क्षेत्र हैं या वन के क्षेत्र हैं उनके अंदर जो आजकल प्रोग्राम्स चल रहे हैं, उनके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत हार्दिक साधुवाद देता हूँ कि ऐसे प्रोग्राम्स हमारी दृष्टि से, स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से और मृदा की दृष्टि से, यानी कि जो जमीन है उसकी दृष्टि से ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। और इस प्रोग्राम के लिए निरंतरता के साथ में चलाया जाना चाहिए, तभी इसकी उपयोगिता होगी। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं बहुत बहुत हार्दिक साधुवाद देता हूँ कि मुझे कुछ कहने का अवसर प्राप्त हुआ, क्योंकि मैं तो ये पेड़ के संबंध में हमेशा ही बातें करता रहता हूँ कि भाई जितने लगाएंगे पेड़ उतने ही बच्चों के लिए मिलेगा स्वास्थ्यप्रदक वायु। क्योंकि अब सबसे बड़ी तो वायु वायु नहीं मिल पा रही, और जब पेड़ नहीं है तो वायु कहाँ से मिलेगी? क्योंकि जो पेड़ हो भी रहे हैं तो ऑर्नामेंटल के ऊपर लोग ज्यादा जोर दे रहे हैं। ऑर्नामेंटल पेड़ उतने अच्छे नहीं हैं, हैं अच्छे, ये निश्चित रूप से अच्छे हैं, लेकिन ऑर्नामेंटल से ज्यादा जो मेडिसिनल प्लांट्स हैं उनकी उपयोगिता कहीं अधिक है। और जो बड़े पेड़ हैं उनकी उपयोगिता हमारे वन की जो लकड़ी है, लकड़ी की उपयोगिता भी हमारे लिए तभी संभव हो सकती है जबकि बड़े पेड़ होंगे। छोटे पेड़ उतने उपयोगी नहीं होते हैं, सुंदरता की दृष्टि से तो बहुत अच्छे होते हैं, लेकिन हमारे लिए आजकल वनों की आवश्यकता भी है कि जिससे कि प्लांटेशन के साथ सिंचाई का जो एक कार्य है, पानी का प्रिजर्वेशन जो है वो बहुत आवश्यक है, और वो तभी संभव है जबकि बड़े पेड़ होंगे, वन होंगे। तो इसलिए आज वनों की बहुत आवश्यकता है। और ये जो चुटकू आंदोलन है, यानी उसको हम यूं कह सकते हैं, अगर हर व्यक्ति एक पेड़ लगाता है तो निश्चित रूप से एक एक जो है सैकड़ों की संख्या में, हजारों की संख्या के अंदर बढ़ते चले जाएंगे और अन्यथा कटते चले जाएंगे। आजकल कई जगह पर देखने में आता है कि पेड़ लगाए गए, लेकिन साल भर के बाद उनमें से आधे जो है समाप्त हो गए, सूख के चले गए। इसलिए जहाँ कहीं भी पेड़ लगे वहां पर ये आवश्यक है कि उनके लिए कम से कम प्रारंभिक अवस्था के अंदर पानी की व्यवस्था अवश्य होना चाहिए। जब तक पानी नहीं होगा तब तक उनका जीवन संभव नहीं है। तो जल, जीवन, पेड़ पौधे और हमारा स्वास्थ्य, ये सब एक दूसरे से कोरिलेटेड है। और इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ प्रत्येक व्यक्ति का स्वास्थ्य अच्छा रहे, जीवन अच्छा रहे, इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं सभी के लिए एक बार पुनः हार्दिक साधुवाद देता हूँ।
बहुत बहुत आभार सर, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। आप बहुत ही शांत और सरल शब्दों में आप उसका महत्व समझाते हैं जिस विषय को आप प्रतिपादित कर रहे होते हैं। मैं आपको इतनी रात को तकलीफ देने के लिए क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ। फिर भी आपके बिना ये सुनने लगते हैं प्रोग्राम। आप इतना अच्छा बोलते हैं। जय हो आपकी, जय हो। गुड
ये
नाइट
तो
सर।
सब आप लोगों
गुड
की शुभकामनाएं हैं।
नाइट। अगले महीने का प्रोग्राम मैंने
जी, अगले
भेज
महीने
दिया है, काइंडली एक बार देखिए।
क्या है? अगले महीने
चार
में,
पांच दिन है अगले महीने में। एक
अगले महीने में क्या क्या भेजा है?
एक मैं इसको लाइव बंद कर दूं फिर फोन।
हाँ, ये सब बंद कर दी।